Go Leafs, go. I got two, well, there's nobody here. According to the concurrent viewers, there's nobody here, but I see two in the chat. I don't know if you're here or not. Go Leafs. I kind of changed the background a bit, but it's kind of glitchy. I noticed as I was setting it up, it's kind of glitchy. So I don't know how this is. No. Yeah, I don't think. Last I saw, they were 10 points back. Did they drop even farther back yesterday? So I won't be. It doesn't look like. Well, how's it going? B-Barb stats and facts. It's a long time. Well, we subscribe to each other. Long time. What do you think of the Leafs? You think the Leafs should just tear it down? Probably. I think when they were like the 2016-17 season, the thing that was so exciting about that team is they had so many young prospects, like tons. And then they brought in veterans, like Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton, Jason Spezza, like they help out with the young players. But now, I was thinking of it, it's kind of the other way around now, where Matthews and Nylander are becoming the veterans. And I think that's what they lack. I think they lack more guys like Cowan, like young players. I don't know. It's the worst. They're playing the worst team in the league, but that doesn't mean much when it comes to the Leafs. Even when the Leafs are good, it doesn't mean much. You never know who they're going to lose to. Yeah, Marleau, even like Spezza, he was pretty good. Like they brought in but it was a good like balance. Like now, I think they need more. Like they traded away all the prospects and the draft picks, and I think that's what they lack is some enthusiasm. Another thing that I don't hear too many people mention is like after they fired Mark Savard, they played great. We all thought they were going to make the playoffs and they were going to go on a long playoff run and all that. Like the Leafs are back and all that, and now they stink again. So they're capable of playing like really good. So it must be still the coaching. Like maybe they don't like Berube. Maybe this whole season, well, they had the injuries too, but maybe this whole season is they're protesting because they don't like Berube. Like just to tear it down and all that, when maybe all they had to do was try a new coach. Yeah, the Bruins did fleece them. The Bruins tend to do that to the Leafs. Like a lot of people remember, like what a great player Phil Kessel was and all that, but he got off to a bad start here because Brian Burke gave up 2 first-round picks and a second for him. And the 2 first-round picks, one turned into Dougie Hamilton, and the other one turned into Tyler Seguin. And so that was a lot of why, same to you, Underway, yeah, underway in Vancouver. Yeah, hockey night in Canada today. Go Leafs, go. I don't know why I don't see them wearing. I wonder if they wear because I don't follow the Canucks that much. I wonder if they ever wear the ones where when they first came into the league. Those jerseys are like a blast from the past. It would be cool to see them wear those sort of like white and green ones. But oh yeah, Raycroft for Rask. And I think there's been a few others. It's unbelievable. I don't know why the Leafs have done so much to help the Bruins out. I don't get it. But David Camp got a. Yeah, he wasn't too happy with being sent to the Marley, so. But the Leafs could have. And then he refused to play. So the Leafs had to let him go, but they probably could have used him now with all the injuries. I don't even know what team he went to. Yeah, the Leafs get ripped off every time. It's unbelievable. But I think one of the first things they should have tried was maybe getting rid of Berube. But I think they're stubborn. They want the players to do what he says because like, oh, he's on the. Oh, he wound up going to Vancouver. That'd be something if the Leafs lose tonight to Vancouver. I don't see how they could. And after this, there's only 2 games left till the break. If they lose tonight, like they have to start, like, do something. So I can't believe they haven't tried anything. Yeah, right across the country there seems to be, well, even right across North America, there's lots of Leafs fans. But I think a lot of fans were kind of like bandwagon fans too, though. Like when the Leafs were so good there for 10 years, now I wonder, like, if it's just gonna be more, like the hardcore, diehard fans will stick around for sure. But I always wonder, like I noticed it online, like a lot of fans, they think, people became fans because the Leafs were good. I even like see it in the comments where you get like people ask, how could I cheer for a team that hasn't won since '67 or a team that's so? And I always think Is that what kind of fan they are of whatever team they're a fan of? Is like if their team starts losing, they just switch teams. So every few years they switch teams. So that's not being a fan at all. You know, if you're a fan of a team, you stick to that team, win or lose. So I never got it when people ask me, how can I be a fan of the Leafs? I've been a fan of my Leafs all my life. I don't start switching around every time they go on a slump. But yeah, it does look. But all the different rinks, I think, have a bit different. Like the cameras have a bit different view. I think all the different rinks. Sometimes I think it has to do with the network too, but this is hockey in Canada, so it must be to do with the rink where they have the camera placed. Must be placed way up high somewhere. It's okay. Either like there's benefits to close-ups, and there's benefits to way up high. Way up high, like a lot of people like it because they see the play developing and all that. But close-ups, you feel like you're really like when I make my videos, I have to do it more like a close-up because like I zoom it in a bit, do it more like a close-up because people are watching on their phones. That's what a lot of other people. That's one of my. I have all these little things that I came up with. That so as time goes on, I actually see people editing their videos more like mine, but there's still a few things they don't do. Like zoom it in a bit because most people are watching them on a phone. YouTube Shorts. I shouldn't give away all my secrets for making videos. Yeah, well, go Leafs, go chant everywhere. Even like the Leafs could absolutely stink. Well, they do actually stink this year, but the Leafs could be absolutely stink, and you'll hear chants everywhere. Probably this will be my last video for over a month, like this kind of like the live stream, because I'm gonna continue doing these live streams, even though I'm not the greatest at it. I think I'll continue, but after tonight, I'm not gonna do. I don't think I'll do it during the week, and then so that'll be probably that for unless I did an Olympic game, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just watch the Olympics, sit back and watch. Well, that looked like it was almost brought it outside the line. And Tavares got off to such a good start. I don't know at the start of the year. So now I don't know if he just burnt himself out or he's injured a bit too. Or, like maybe his age is just catching up with him and he can't continue that pace for a whole season. Which is a pretty bad sign if it's just now going to rely on Matthews and Nylander. I don't know what the Leafs are going to do. If they're going to rebuild or just, kind of switch players around, make some trades, or if they're going to tear it down. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Trill living. Yeah, Tavares was the best player on the team there at the start of the year. But then I don't know what's like if he's injured or he just can't continue that pace. He's getting up there in years. There was some rumors where maybe they're gonna try to get a this guy from St. Louis. I'm trying to remember his name, and he'd make a pretty good second line center for the Leafs. And he's like offensive. He's 26 years old and pretty good like offensively and defensively. I'm trying to remember his name, but then they don't know who they would trade for him. Like I don't know if I wouldn't risk trading like Nyes for him or anything like that because it said like maybe that's a guy they could trade for him. Yeah, the Leafs overplayed him. They've done that a lot this season. That's Berube. Because there were times like when Wall got injured there, or he kind of or they kept playing Wall, and they could have played Hildeby more. And then at the start of the year, the same thing. They kept playing Stallers until he got injured. And a lot of people have been saying that that's one of the problems. Like like they don't know why. Oh yeah, I think it was Steve Dangle podcast. They were saying they put Matthews on less offensive face-offs than other stars in the league, but they put him on more defensive face-offs. And that's Berube. Like ever since Berube's here, and if they would they should let Lawton and those guys take more defensive face-offs, and let Matthews take more offensive face-offs like the other stars in the league. So that's all on Berube. Matthews was injured. Tavares was first line center. Yeah. Yeah, he played. He was good, but he's really slowed down though. The last month or so at least. See what happens after the break. But after the break, it might be too late, anyways. If the Leafs are still 10 points back at the break or something, I think it'll be too late. Well, I think it's too late now. Oh, how come he's out of the lineup? Did they just sit him out, or is he injured? Easton Cowan. But do you know why Cowan is out of the lineup, though? Oh, they're saying that Bobby McMahon would be a good guy to trade because he's. Because Nylander's back. Yeah, I guess. Well, they had to sit somebody out, I guess. I've been kind of disappointed in Mitchell lately. He's had some moments, but like the guys they spent, like they had that extra cap money or whatever, like from Nylander, and the players they got aren't like that great. Yeah, I think hopefully they could get a first rounder for him because he's never gonna be like he might never have a season like that again. Because he was a star defenseman when he was younger. The Leafs could use a guy like him, like a younger OEL. But now, this might be his last really good season. And Bobby McMannon, he's 29 years old. Because a lot of people think of him as kind of a younger player, but he's not. He just came into the league late. He's 29 years old. So he might be at his peak now. And he might want like $4 or $5 million a year. And he might not ever have another season like this again either. I think they should have tried firing Berube a long time ago because I always had the feeling, all this season, I had the feeling they gave up on the coach because how could they? I know they had all those injuries, but we all thought they were going to be a good team this year because they were. They are. Like now, everybody doesn't think so, but after they took the Panthers 7 games, everybody thought they were good and they're going to be a good team. They were missing Marner, but it doesn't matter. They were a good team. That's what we all thought at the start of the year. And then they stank, and then they fired Mark Savard, and all of a sudden they were that good team we thought they could be. And then that wore off. And now I think that wore off, and because the whole time they thought maybe that was just the start, and Berube was next, and it never happened. Like now they left themselves so far back. Like even if they go on a run, it might not be enough. But if they would have fired Berube a few weeks ago, who knows? Maybe they would have gone on a run. You think they should have fired him when they? Yeah. Usually they fire. Usually they fire the head coach first, and then like the assistants. Either they promote the assistant to coach, which doesn't seem like they would have done with Savard, or they let the assistants go too. But I think that would be the first thing I would have tried. But everybody, there's this thing where they got Babcock fired because they didn't want to do. Well, then it turned out Babcock was a jerk, but still, like there was always this thing where they didn't want to do everything Babcock wanted, and then like this is what a lot of people like. And then they got Keefe fired, because Keefe wanted them to do play like with the defensive hockey and all that. He wanted them to do that too, and they wouldn't listen. And play with more grit and all that. and now Berube. So I think there's this thing where the players have didn't want the players to always get their way, and that's why I think they didn't fire Berube. But it happens on a lot of teams where the players want their way. Like they stop playing for the coach and they get a new coach, and the team plays great. 3 guys coaching staff: Berube, Sullivan, right, all played for the Leafs too. That's cool. But yeah, because who knows? Like maybe they could have just fired Berube, and they would have gone on a run months ago. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't try, but now it's kind of too late. Now they might as well just wait it out because if they can't make the playoffs, they might as well try to. They might as well just keep losing and try to get their first try to get their first round pick back. Like if they're not going to make the playoffs, they might as well just lose every game remaining and get the first round pick back. Well, to start with, I had to see if because it worked getting rid of Savard. So maybe just keep doing one at a time and see Berube, and then the guy that's the assistant now. I forgot his name, but the guy that's assistant now. Make him the coach, and I think the coach of the Marlies was an assistant coach when Boston had that record season where they had all those points a few years ago. One of the assistant coaches is the coach of the Marlies now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a shot at some point. But I would just replace him with the guy that's the assistant now. I forget his name. He used to be the coach of Detroit. Oh, Lalonde. Yeah, I think probably Lalonde would be the next in line for it. Even though I think maybe they like Sullivan because that's who they brought in when they got rid of Savard. So maybe they like Sullivan, but Lalonde, I think Lalonde would be the next in line for it. And then that would get them to the end of the year. And then figure it out in the summer. Like that's what they should have done about a month ago. But now, yeah, maybe they like him. Maybe he's a future coach of the Leafs. Like make him the coach. But now, it's like if they could go on a run, these ear things keep falling out. If they could go on a run and make the playoffs, then it's worth it. But if they can't make the playoffs, they might as well just lose every game. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they should trade Matthews or Nylander at this point. Because I don't think this team is as bad as what everybody thinks. Like all these shows, like the Leafs are just horrible. I don't think they are. They had injuries, and they played great, except for Game 5 and Game 7 last year against the Panthers. So they played great all last year. The only player that really missing is Marner. They played great all last year. They played pretty good for most of the playoffs, except for a couple of games. And they were playing great after they fired Mark Savard. So I don't think there is such a bad. I think there's something going on there, some kind of chemistry, something with the coaches. Probably, unless it was, they probably would be, if they were healthy, they probably would be in a playoff spot. Unless it was Berube, because at the start of the year they were pretty healthy. Like before Tanev got hurt and all that, and they were still playing. They still weren't. The record still wasn't that good before Tanev got hurt. Before a lot of these guys got hurt. Before Carlo got hurt, and before a lot of these guys got hurt, they still weren't playing that great. So that's why I think it was the coach all along. Like if they would have fired Berube at the start of the year, I think then they would have made the playoffs. That's what my real. And then, so does that mean like Treliving didn't put as bad a team as we thought to get as together as we thought, but he's still the guy that didn't make the coaching change if that's what was needed also. So I don't know what'll be happen with Berube if they're going to get rid of Berube or not. And yeah, but this year's is a conditional. This year's first pick is conditional, like top five, like conditional bottom five, and I heard that JD Bunkus, that JD Bunkus, he has also podcasts and all that on Sportsnet. So he said that next year's pick is a conditional bottom 10 pick. So if the Leafs still stink next year and they finish in the bottom 10, they'll get their first round pick back. Because next year's is a conditional, bottom 10 pick. But, how's it going? Never should have taken the C away. Yeah. Like I didn't feel comfortable of taking the C away. I didn't think it was right, but I have to admit that I thought like Matthews, like he was the guy that was going to be the captain eventually anyways, but I didn't feel comfortable. But now I where I don't think Matthews maybe should be. It doesn't seem like a captain. Like he doesn't seem like a captain kind of player. These things keep falling on my ears. Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch the Olympics. Over my life, like I've probably had more Team Canada excitement than Leafs excitement. I watch the Leafs every single year, every single playoff they're in. But as far as intense winning and all that over the years, it's been all those Canada Cups and Olympics and 1972. There's more memories with Team Canada. So for sure, I'll be watching the Olympics. Yeah, when like it still seems like it's whenever they have a bad loss or something, it's Tavares that comes out and speaks to the media. Like he doesn't, he kind of shies away from it. And the same thing, like Marner, where people are asking questions about Marner, and Matthews says he didn't want to answer any more questions about Marner. But Tavares was still answering. Tavares doesn't shy away from any questions. He doesn't shy away from talking to the media after a loss. Matthews is kind of disappointing in that way. He doesn't seem like captain material, I think. I'm more impressed with Nyes and Lawton than Matthews. Like Tavares is getting old, so I doubt they're going to give it back to him. But I think a guy like Lawton, or in the future, maybe Nyes seems like a guy that could be. Lawton seems like a real leader on the team. Ole Ellis seemed like a leader on the team this year. Oh, yeah, Paul Henderson. Yeah, the Henderson goal was huge. Oh, I remember watching this. Oh, man. That was, it was, you can't really even explain what that was like then. Because of the stuff like in the world, the way, like with the Cold War and uh, almost all the players in the NHL were Canadian then. Like well over 90%. Like close to 100% of the players were Canadian then. And they had this thing where Canada couldn't go to the Olympics because the Olympics was considered for amateur athletes only. So like the Soviets and all, they were going to the Olympics every year and winning gold medals, and Canada had to send like junior A teams. And there was this thing where the best Canadian players never played the best Russian players. And we always said that, yeah, like they're beating like our junior A players. Like, what happened? What would happen? Wait to see what happens if they ever play our NHL players. So it was like this thing started September, and the NHL players back then, they didn't train like they did today, and they didn't take it seriously. They just thought this was going to be like, like a bit of a joke of a series where they were just going to beat the Russians easily. It was just going to be a joke of the series, and that's what everybody thought. And so they still didn't train that way. They were going to use that series to get in shape because they didn't train in the summer back then. And they started losing. And everybody started panicking because it was like nobody, because there's so much parity now. There wasn't the parity back then. We thought it was just Canadian professionals and everybody else is amateurs. Yeah, the Leafs. Yeah, I was going on. The Leafs fan was asking about the '72 series. I was trying to describe how man, how insane that win was. You can't really replicate it now because now there's parity. So back then it felt like there was Canadian professionals and everybody else around the world were amateurs, and the two never played each other before. Yeah, the Leafs. I think the Leafs kind of know they're not making the playoffs, and so what's the use in? They're probably thinking about the break they're gonna have in a couple weeks. Yeah, Canada was supposed to have Bobby Orr then, but his knees were messed up. And another thing, they were supposed to have Bobby Hull too, but and Bobby Hull would have been the difference. Bobby Hull was a fantastic player then, but he went to the WHA, and the Team Canada was NHL players, and Bobby Hull went to the WHA, and they wouldn't, and he wanted to play, and they wouldn't let him. I might see how it goes. I haven't decided yet. I was thinking of it, but I don't know yet. Like I don't know if I'll show every goal. If I do, like maybe some of the goals, because for the Four Nations last year, I was showing goals. So I was thinking, I was wondering if I'm going to do that again, or I'm not sure yet, or if I'm going to just maybe really just show like real highlight goals. Oh yeah, I'm really pumped for the Olympics. I just hope I can't I don't I'm not in the mood for another disappointment now. I hope Canada really for sure wins this, especially with everything. Like not one thing watching the Leafs, I want Canada to do well, and then what's the other stuff happening? That I don't want to get into around the world or whatever. I really want Canada to win. Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's weird, like the way they picked the team. Like Jason Robertson, I think they left off. But I wouldn't get too overconfident about anything. Hopefully, hopefully Canada could do that. Hopefully the ice. Here's so many so many stories about the ice over there. Is like they're going around with a watering can filling holes last week. The ice. Yeah, the Olympics are going to be good. I bought these earbuds a while ago, and I'm gonna get ones because I don't want to. I just bought these a short while ago, so I don't want to get other ones yet. But I'm gonna get ones that go over the like not headphones, but just the earbuds that kind of wrap around the ear a bit. Because these things, I'm scared to go. I have to be careful not to lean forward. If I go to the washroom, I have to be careful not to lean forward. Otherwise, they're gonna fall into the toilet. Oh man, I hope it doesn't go to OT. I'm getting old. I want I want some easy wins. No OT. Oh man, like that Crosby goal was so memorable, but at the time I would have rather taken a 5-0 Canada win than that memorable Crosby goal. That was stressful. Yeah, it'll probably be it'll probably will be Canada and the U.S. So I would think in the gold medal. Yeah, yeah. I think Chris Cuthbert, like after, like he's probably the top. He's the top play-by-play guy right now. I wasn't a fan of Jim Houston, but I'm a fan of Chris Cuthbert. Like to me, it went from Bob Cole to Chris Cuthbert. I was never a real fan of Jim Houston for some reason, and he seemed to hate the Leafs. The commentary. Nylander could technically play for Canada because, yeah, well, I think he said like in an interview at one time where he had to make a decision when he was a teenager, and he picked to play for Sweden, but he could have played for Canada all along. But who knows if he would have made Team Canada? It's hard to say. They left Connor Bedard off, and like they had to make some big decisions too. Team Canada. Like Calgary. I hear a lot of people online gave Nylander the nickname Calgary Bill for some reason. Some people would call him that. Yeah. He spent the first 2 years of his life in Calgary, but he says he hardly remembers it. Yeah, at the start of the year, it seemed like Tavares could maybe. I don't know what the Leafs will do at the deadline. I can't. I figure I figure they're just gonna do like some kind of maybe guys like McMahon for But I'm not sure if they're. I don't even. I don't know. I have trouble. I don't know if they're gonna go for the picks, and I think they should go. They. I wish the Leafs had more picks and prospects, but I have a feeling the Leafs aren't gonna go for picks and prospects. I have a feeling they're gonna try to like maybe try to get a second line center, and I think they're just still gonna just do some patchwork for now, and then the big moves will probably happen in the summer. So I think there's just going to be a bunch of patchwork. Maybe they'll sell and get some draft picks, but I can't predict. It's hard to predict what they'll do because they should have done something already. Like, so when are they going to? They should have done something already. So when are they going to do something? So I don't want to predict they're going to do something even. Because haven't they done something already? They, they, they just sat by and watched this disaster. They didn't do anything to shake it up all year. That's what we do. But that's what they should. Yeah, but I think with Matthews and Nylander here, I don't think they're going. And I think that Matthews and Nylander are staying. I don't think there's unless one of them over the summer says they're tired of it here, which I don't think they are. So I think Matthews and Nylander are staying, and if they're staying, I don't think the Leafs are going to completely tank. I think they're going to do something kind of like what Boston did. Get rid of some guys and try to get some younger guys. Like get like what they got like Minton. So now maybe the Leafs are going to try doing that. They should have maybe kept Minton, but whatever. So now maybe they're just going to try to reverse. You know, they maybe they should have still kept Grabenkin and Minton and all that. So maybe now they're just going to try to get all like players like that back and draft picks. Maybe they're just going to try reversing what they did the last two trade deadlines. Yeah, yeah, that the Bruins did. But the thing that's funny about that though is I think a lot of it would require them kind of just reversing what a lot of the moves they did, Be- because the Bruins acquired Minton. You know, they got rid of Marchand and all that, and they brought in like some younger players. So so the Leafs would basically be reversing what they've done the last 2 years, or even more than 2 years. But yeah, I think the Leafs should do kind of what the Bruins did. Just kind of like not tear it completely down and sink to the bottom, but just retool a bit because the Leafs are still a good team. Like everybody, they're not as bad as everybody says they are. There's something going on. Like I don't know, it's because of the coach. They don't like the coach, but there's something going on. They didn't suddenly just become a bad team. Yeah, he's been playing fantastic. And now they're going to get on top of that, they're going to get the Leafs' first round pick, too, unless they sink to the bottom five. So that's what they have to kind of reverse. who know? Yeah, it's hard to know. Tanev, like the, he didn't want surgery because he felt he was going to come back. I guess the surgery when it finished the season, but yeah, he might wind up like Tanev could wind up like Muzzin, and and then like what's his name, the goalie. They thought he wouldn't come back, and then I think he did come back. I don't know where he is now. I forget his name. The goalie they got from Ottawa. I don't know why I forgot his name. And he won 2 cups with Pittsburgh. I forget his name. I don't know. My head is so spaced out. Yeah, so it seemed like he was finished. I think he managed to come back somewhere. I think he's. Yeah, yeah, Tana was fantastic. But it seems like kind of a Jake Muzzin kind of situation where he gave everything he had until his body gave out. Didn't have anything left. That second period. Yeah. Yeah, like Tanev, last year's playoffs. I don't know how he took all that. I remember they said like how many hits he took in the in the first 2 series. It's like something like 50 or 60 hits he took or something like that in last year's playoffs. Like every time he went back to get the puck, he got pasted against the boards, like nonstop, every game. Well, sometimes it's better to like in the 2015-2016 season. I wanted them to keep like finishing last for sure. Oh, Vancouver scored. Because if they didn't keep tanking, they wouldn't have got Matthews. So it's a good thing they kept losing. Yeah, Vancouver scored. That'd be something if they lose to Vancouver. Oh man, and I don't believe that they're this bad. I just have this feeling that if they would have fired Berube about 3 months ago, even with all the injuries, they would be in a playoff spot. Oh yeah, what does Riley ever do? uh, that's one player I wish they could find to get rid of. And I was always a Morgan Riley fan, and I always defended him. I always defended Morgan Riley, but and I still defended him a bit last year, but this year is just too much. It's like non-stop where he's on the ice for all these goals. Yeah, he's always on for goals against. And Max Domi had so many giveaways too. Like Max Domi has like some, where he sets up some nice goals or, scores a few nice goals. But he's responsible for so many more goals against. Like, we're all like Leafs fans are all fans of Ty Domi. So, we want to be fans of Max Domi, but I'm not sure if we should. Oh, hit the post. Domi almost scored. That was Domi almost scored, wasn't it? After I was saying. He does get goals. He does get some nice goals. But he also does does so many giveaways. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, it's been fantastic. It's a shame that it's like he might be one of the ones they have to get rid of that they could get something for, but he's not. I don't think he has too many seasons like that in him. So if somebody wants to overpay and like for their playoff run, I think it's a huge opportunity for the Leafs. The only thing, if they get like a first round pick for OEL, though, he's probably going to go to a good team. So it won't be a high pick. Yeah, I used to defend him too for years. Like he'd say he was one of the Leafs. You know, well, say it was. It's hard to believe now, but I used to say he was one of the Leafs' all-time better defensemen, like ones that they developed by themselves. He's up there. With Caberlet. He's up there. Yeah, I thought he was up. Up there with Caberlet, and he's nobody's close to Salming. I saw the end of Tim Horton's career when he was older, so I never saw Tim Horton really in his prime because he started in the 50s, before I was born. In the 60s, when I saw him, he was kind of over the hill a bit, so I never saw him in his prime. Oh. Vancouver has the pressure on. Yeah, need a yeah for sure. Need a defenseman like Boreas Salming. The Leafs haven't had that kind of, for some reason, they haven't had that kind of number one defenseman very often. And I always, oh man, the Leafs are getting killed by the worst team in the league. Oh man. Yeah, down 2-0. I don't know why over the last 10 years I kept saying when when like in 2016, 2017, they had all those young players and they were like all prospects. Like Matthews, Nylander, Marner. And then Kadri, Hyman, uh, Kapanen, Connor Brown. Man, but they were all forwards. And they relied on Morgan Riley to be their number one defenseman. He was never a true number one defenseman, I think. And I was always saying all along they should have gone out and got a number one defenseman. And they didn't draft defensemen. They didn't try to get defensemen, like number one defensemen. And that's what they needed. That's the one thing they needed. Yeah, there maybe was interference there, goalie interference. The Leafs catch a break. Yeah, the guy was right in the crease, so it's such like none of us Leafs fans were really expecting this for the Leafs to have a season like this. Yeah, it'll be pretty embarrassing. They lose to Vancouver, but the way this season has been, it's like it's been embarrassing as it is, anyways. Like all the trolls and everything are already out in full force. So I don't think it'll As far as people making fun of us Leafs fans, I don't think it'll increase much because it's already in full force. Yeah, they have to figure out a way to talk Riley into it, But maybe Riley will. Maybe he'll, kind of see where things are at, and maybe he'll agree to it this year. He didn't agree to it last year. Some, one of these podcasts, I don't remember which one, they were saying like, yeah, like he could just go play somewhere for a couple of years, and then come back to Toronto. He doesn't have to sell his home and all that. Just come back the same way like Wendell Clark and all those guys came back. He doesn't have to sell his home and stuff. Yeah, because he has to, because of the no move. They can't do anything. It's like what happened last year. Would have been nice if because they knew Marner was going. It would have been nice if they could have traded him before the deadline. They tried, but he had a no move. There's nothing they could do about it. Same goes with Riley. But over the summer, maybe they could sort of come up, some kind of plan. I hope that the Leafs could get it back on track a bit next year. Most of my life, I've seen this team stink. And it was so positive the last 10 years. I'd hate to see it get back to the way it was in the around 2010s or whatever. Or the way it was in the 1980s. Man. Yeah. Yeah, like a bunch of teams every year. There's a bunch of teams get players to waive the no move. So it's definitely doable. The Leafs have had a bit of pressure. It's hard to believe the way the Rangers fell off too. They seemed like such a good team a couple of years ago. Yeah, it would be expensive to buy them out. They play Calgary next. Calgary's not that good either. Feels like this is like exhibition hockey. And there's no hitting, nothing. I'm just gonna go to the washroom. All the coffee. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, they haven't been this bad since, well, since the 2015-2016 season. They were probably worse that season. Well, they were worse because they finished last in the league. Yeah, just 2 more games. Calgary's not very good either. It would be so much like the Leafs to lose to Vancouver and Calgary and then beat Edmonton. But if they lose tonight, I bet they'll be 12 points behind. If they're not 12 points behind already, I haven't looked at the standings today. Yeah, that would be a leafy thing to do. That would be the most leafy thing to do. Is their only win would be against Edmonton. It's like on the last trip when they beat Colorado. They looked like Stanley Cup contenders when they beat Colorado. And then pretty much laid an egg the rest of the way. They tied it up. Yeah, tie game. It's hard for the way the season is the way it's gone now. It's hard for me to get really like like a couple weeks ago when I was doing some streams and the Leafs scored. I was freaking out on a couple of the goals, on some of the goals. It's hard for me to get as pumped for Leafs goals now, but still tied it up. Yeah, Raw's been playing. He's actually a good player. He's been playing good. I think he's definitely a player they should keep. And Lawton and Lorenz they should keep. And Nick Robertson. I think I actually like to see the Leafs keep Nick Robertson if he wants to stay. He wanted to be traded a couple of years ago, but I think he wanted to be traded a couple of years ago because they weren't playing him. Now that they're playing him, he might not want to be traded and the Leafs might not want to trade him. He's been one of their better players, I think. He's been pretty solid. Be good over the summer. That would be a pretty good trade to get his brother, because I think his brother's contract is up. I think. I think they said the contract negotiations weren't going that great with Jason Robertson and Dallas. That'd be something to get Jason Robertson here with Nick Robertson. And then Matthews and Nylander be a good couple of good. Yeah, imagine Jason Robinson on the second line with, with Jason Robertson and Nick Robertson. The first line with Matthews and Nylander. Or else, or else they can mix it up the way they do. And then they have to somehow figure out the defense. That's the big problem this year. They were scoring goals. The goaltending hasn't been that great lately, but they're still good goalies. They have good goalies. It's the defense. So if they could get a guy like Jason Robertson and then just find a way to make the defense a bit younger and more mobile, but still have some toughness, that they don't get pushed around like on the forecheck by teams like Florida. And I know Nick Robertson, like he was born in California, but he actually played like in the GTHL, like for the Toronto Red Wings. Oh, Vancouver just scored. And Jason Robinson might have played here too, so I'm not sure of that. So they have some Toronto I'm not surprised the way they've been playing. But Tavares is the first guy back. What Riley is like somewhere is nowhere to be found. Tavares was back before Riley. But there's another one. Morgan Riley on the ice for another goal. It's like, man, every time he steps on the ice, it seems like the other team scores. Well, it's not that bad, but man. Matthews is playing. I'm happy with the way Matthews is playing. And Nylander, was off for a while, but yeah, if they could figure out what to do with Riley and then and spend that money on somebody that could actually play defense, that would be like a huge plus. I actually think the Leafs are going to be okay this year. Next year, I mean. If they do the right things. It's like I don't know if they so far the last couple of years they haven't done the right things. Oh yeah, if they go down 3-1. So yeah, if they tie it up, they could definitely win. They've had a lot of pressure on, but it's defensive blunders by Riley. I can't believe how what Riley's turned into. It almost seems like he's worse than like Justin Hall. Riley has more of offense than Justin Hall, but defensively, I think Riley is as bad as Justin Hall right now. Like as bad as Justin Hall was when he was with the Leafs. Be nice if they could move Riley at the before the trade deadline. Some kind of a deal. If they could find somebody that wanted him and he wanted to go there. But the way he's playing, I don't see how a top team would want him. I don't know what kind of team would want him actually. The way he's playing. Maybe Pittsburgh would want him. Like maybe Kyle Dubas would take Riley. Yeah, they haven't played that bad. Yeah, it was. It's the same old story where they seem to be playing pretty good and then have these defensive lapses, and it's usually the same handful of players. Like if they just make some tough decisions and get rid of a handful of players that seem to be responsible for most of the mistakes. The shots are pretty close. 19 for Vancouver, 17 for the Leafs. I like those matte black helmets. Like blue, even if the Leafs had, it's like those cars. They have a wrap with that matte color. Like cars get at least wraps. You see, some cars have it with that matte color. That's what those helmets are like. That's the end of the second. Yep, second intermission. The Leafs haven't been scoring much lately, so I'm making less videos for the highlights because the Leafs haven't been scoring. Yeah, I know. It's 33 years since the Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. I think ownership is more complex. Like ownership, if you ask ownership in Canada, they would say they really, really, really want to win, and I believe them. They probably do really, really want to win, but I think in some of the more less traditional hockey markets where the stands are like a quarter full, the stands are like 3/4 empty. If the team stinks, those teams are desperate to win. They don't really, really, really want to win like Canadian teams. I think those teams are desperate. Sometimes I think that's why, because a lot of these teams, like Florida and all that, they say they're like ruthless. The deals they do, Florida and Vegas, a lot of these teams, like Florida, if they didn't win those cups, the place is like 3/4 empty, the buildings. Where here, I think, here they think, oh yeah, we really want to win, but they're still raking it in. They're still selling out. The Leafs could still raise the ticket prices every year. I think I heard they're going to raise them 10% or something. So they're still selling all the tickets every year, even if they stink, even if the seats are empty. Like in the 80s, during the Harold Ballard era, there was lots of times when lots of empty seats, but all those seats were sold. It was people with seasons tickets were trying to sell their tickets and they couldn't sell their tickets, but those seats were sold. Like Harold Ballard was making the money, whether people came or not, because the tickets were sold. So yeah, Matthews has been a bit quiet lately, but yeah, they're talking about the Leafs now, what they're going to do. They said that Matthews. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I like to keep continuing with this streaming stuff, but I don't know. People aren't that interested in watching it. I appreciate it, but it's like we're just sitting here talking about the Leafs. Maybe eventually, if we sit here and talk about the Leafs every time, maybe eventually other people will join in. Like people come for a while and they don't stay. But I guess I'm not the greatest of streamers, but I don't think it's like YouTube has recommended me as a streamer. I think that YouTube gets whatever YouTube thinks where like the algorithm, whatever they say. Oh yeah, a lot of people like my YouTube shorts, so it shows them to people. But then, but YouTube doesn't like to gamble, so it's not going to show my live streams until I start getting like a few people watching, and then a few more, and then a few more, and then it goes from there. But if I never get more than a handful of people or one person, then YouTube's not going to start showing it in the algorithm. So yeah, like if I kept at it long enough, maybe. But it seems like I'm not that great at it. People aren't really interested. It's kind of weird because they're they're when I did the first couple of these, a bunch of people joined in, but I guess they're not interested anymore. I guess it was like a novelty at the beginning. Yeah, I appreciate that you're here, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'll continue with doing these streams. If I don't know, I'm just where it's completely no interest in it. But I get some views like after, like maybe they don't watch live, but I noticed that like my last one, I think only had about 30 views or something, and then my second last one had about 50 views. So I had about 50 views after, and then the first couple had about close to 80 views. So my views keep going down instead of up. Like the views that are after, a lot of people watch after. I don't know if hopefully it will. Like I saw them win, but it's so long ago, and my head isn't that sharp anymore. So it's like a faint memory. Like if I watch like old videos, it kind of I know who everybody is, like all the players. But it's sort of like such a faint memory that I don't know. Like it's hard to remember how you know. So I don't. I'd like to see we before them win another one. You must be a lot younger than me. I don't, I still don't have a clue like how like around. I guess how about around what age are you? I guess if I don't know if you want to say, but I mean You've been, for a few years now, and I have no clue who I'm even. In some ways, I don't know who it is I'm talking to. You've commented on so many of my videos. Well, you know, I figure you're quite a bit younger than me, because just from the conversations, I kind of get an idea that where I think were you around for like the Sundin years and all that, or is that before your time? Like I kind of like all these conversations I had, I kind of get an idea. Like we're talking about this, like like when like this conversation I had. So then I know um, you don't seem to be around, didn't seem to be around for like when Sittler and Salming were around. But you were around for after that. But I can never tell what the cutoff is. Like I don't think you were around for the Harold Ballard era. I think you were after. So probably, you know, well, yeah, like so probably like in the '90s, at some point. You've been around since. You remember the Clark years of the Leafs after the Sundin era. Oh, so that's when. Yeah, so that's. Trying to remember what year when that was. I guess the early two. Uh, After the Sundin era. So the Sundin era ended. Trying to remember what year it was. Right around 2010 or something. Like you were around. You were. He, he was the captain of the Leafs when you were born. Yeah. So, but he was captain for quite a while. They made him captain. After Gilmore left. So Gilmore left around in like the late 90s. Because Gilmore was playing for Chicago when they closed Maple Leaf Gardens. That was 1999. And Sundin was captain of the Leafs. So you were born in the late 90s, I figure. How come Ice Attack? Are you friends with Ice Attack? But now I kind of figure I know your age about. Like you're seems like you're maybe about 30, over 30, around 30 or so. I figure. You're born in the 2000s. Oh, if you're born in the 2000s, probably only around you're only around 20. So you're early 20s, I figure. Were you around when the Leafs won the playoff series in 2004? Yeah, so so you're early 20s. If my spaced out head is doing the math right. Sometimes I joke, that I had a lot, but I did. I had sort of have issues from had like a lot of concussions, and I have the effect like accumulates, like accumulative effects from it. It's got like physical stuff and cognitive stuff. I walk like I'm drunk. Oh, you don't make me feel old. I could do that by myself. Nobody else could, I do that on my own. Well, it's okay. Why doesn't make me feel, if anything, like, I kind of get, there's other people my age, and I kind of get tired is talking to them sometimes about the Leafs. I find a lot of people my age are so negative, like, oh, it's not what it used to be, and all that. They can't get into, like, things change, and the game today is exciting and all that. But so many people, oh yeah, it's not what it used to be, and the players aren't what they used to be, and all that. Like it is different. Like it was grittier back then. And people, I speak to a lot of younger people who can't relate to what it was, what goal being a goaltender was back then. Like they say, oh, the goalies weren't that good back then. But if you think of playing goal, like think of playing goal now with just some thin leather and felt protecting your chest and your arms, and either no mask or a mask that stinks, and getting it in front of shots because Bobby Hall's slap shot back then was probably as hard as any shot today. He could really step into it. And so think of yourself with that kind of equipment. It's basically no equipment. And getting all bruised up. So back then it was like just to get somebody to, like, it was like that's what got the reputation. Like goalies were kind of nuts because back then, basically, to get in the net. So that's like lacking. So now, like today, they could just, yeah, oh, at least they scored. Today, goalies, they have all that protection and the bulky equipment and all that, and they could just concentrate on skill. They don't have to worry about survival. Back then, it was not just skill, it was survival for goaltenders. Oh, man. That was a weird one. But they'll take it. They don't ask how, they ask how many. Tie game. Yeah. He does score goals. He scored some nice goals. It's frustrating watching him with those giveaways. It's been a pretty good game, really. Shots are even. 22 apiece. Uh-oh. There's some wide open hockey. Yeah, Andrew Raycroft. So that Andrew Raycroft, that was trying to think of who made the Andrew Raycroft trade. That was before Brian Burke. That was one of the worst trades. Like, couldn't believe they traded Tuukka Rask for Andrew Raycroft. Oh man. Is that John Ferguson Jr.? Everything's all blending together. That made that trade. The Leafs are out shooting Vancouver now, 25-22. You know the year yet? I'd have to look up what year it was. I'm trying to remember what year Andrew Raycroft. Andrew Raycroft. So that would have been maybe around 2008 or something. Be- because 2004 they had Ed Belfour in that, and then was the lockout. And then after the lockout, they started making all these weird. The team started to go downhill after the 2005 lockout. 2000. So Andrew, 2009. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look up what year. Try to remember. 2006, 2000, 2007, 2006, 2007. Wow. Yeah. So you're still a teenager. That's okay. You know, I like talking to you. I appreciate, all, the comments and all that. But at least now I kind of know, like when I'm talking, so I know where, because sometimes you're talking, so then you don't know, like if I say something, if, like, if you were around that time or not. Like if I say something, answer in the comments. So now when I answer in the comments, I know around the era that you actually saw, as opposed to the era where you're just kind of like know the history. Yeah, so you're gonna be March. Oh, it's March 13th. So if you're born in 2007, you're gonna be 19. So you're gonna be 19 next. You're gonna be 19 in March. So you're still 18 then. Now you're confusing me. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty. That's yeah. So now at least I know. You know where what you saw and what sort of from history. Like when I answer comments and talking comments and all that. So you didn't see much of when Joe Bowen was on, because Joe Bowen, trying to remember what year, it was around 2013, I think he stopped doing TV. So basically, you've only known Joe Bowen from radio. That's bizarre. Wow. That is, bizarre. Like when you think of it, like hopefully the Leafs don't go on something like that kind of streak again now. I don't think they will. I think they're going to. I don't think this team is like in a rebuild. Like so many people saying tear it down. I don't see this team as like a tear it down kind of team. I like I keep saying, I like to see them with another coach. And I also wonder. Well, that yeah, that is sort of weird to have confidence still for this season, but you never know because I still, like I said, what I was saying a minute ago, I think the Leafs are a good team. Like everybody saying, oh, they're horrible and all that, but it's the same thing that we've been saying for quite a while. They they need to upgrade the defense. You know, when Tanev got hurt, Carlo's got something wrong with his foot all year. Like he came back, but maybe his foot still isn't, still something wrong with it. And Riley, they got to get rid of. So if they just figure out the defense and get another top six forward like Jason Robertson or something, I think they're going to be okay. And they have the goaltending. Like so many people are saying, "Oh man, tear it down, they're stink." And I think, I think. Wow, that's cool. I feel like I've been a Leafs fan since I was born too. There, there was there's like an album I used to listen to as a kid. Let's Talk Hockey with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I remember my parents buying me that album. And looking at the date, and I used to listen to it all the time. Look at the date on the album. It's like 1962, so I would have been 2 years old. But I remember listening to it when I was a kid, and I would hear like Johnny Bauer, and I feel like I've known. I can't remember the cutoff, like when I first came conscious of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It feels like I joked that I must have been listening to the Leafs when I was in the womb. Yeah, it's yeah, but if the Leafs like go on a bit of a run, if they make it to a conference final, you're gonna have the same kind of memories. The people who go on about the Sittler era and the Gilmore Clark era, like they would if the Leafs go on a bit of a run, you're gonna have the same kind of memories, and you're gonna remember whoever, if it's Matthews and Nylander and whoever else on the team and whoever the goalie will be. So, and they're gonna be around for a lot longer. So I'm sure you're gonna see where like when I was in my teens and I was in my 20s, it was the Harold Ballard era. The dark, when I was your age, it was getting into the darkest years of the Harold Ballard era. And I was in my 30s when Gilmore came, when Cliff Fletcher traded for Gilmore, and they brought Pat Burns as the coach. So it's gonna the Leafs are gonna go on a run eventually, and you always remember it. Yeah, that had to be one of the worst losses, one of the worst disappointments. I think just the way they collapsed. But there's the thing that nobody mentions about that series, though. The Leafs were down 3-1, and everybody figured it was over. And they crawled back into it, and everybody kind of figured Boston was the better team. But then they had the chance up 4-1, 10 minutes left in the game. Boston poured it on and came back and won it. Oh, yeah, I'm older than him. I'm 12 years older than him. I was 12 years old in that Summit Series. It was huge. What a series. Oh, man. That Henderson goal. Yeah, I've been around for 4 Toronto Maple Leaf Stanley Cups. And I thought in 67, I just thought that's how it is. That's always how it's going to be. The Leafs win. That's how it is. But then came Harold Ballard and the WHA. The WHA and Harold Ballard was a bad mix because the WHA wanted to be a rival league, and they were trying to outbid the WHA teams were trying to outbid the NHL teams. And Harold Ballard wasn't going to outbid anybody. He just let people go. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I don't know how really it was okay. Yeah. It's because it must be about 3 years. It's long time. You've commented on my videos more than anybody else. By far. Like, I have people who comment on my videos a lot. Like regulars who comment on my videos a lot, but you've commented even more. You've commented the most for years. So we're kind of YouTube buddies. So it's kind of like YouTube buddies, and I have like no clue who I'm talking to. But you're really into Leafs history, I guess. Are you going to intend to be like in media or something? Leafs, like with your interest in it and all that. You could be in media. Leafs, It's cool that people are. It's cool that you're into like Leafs history. Like for, that's why like people should keep the memory of all those old guys alive. You know. Told me you almost got another one there. Told me. Yeah, and he got centered on it too. Like there's one. The best save for a goalie is to get hit right in the stomach and smother it. If you could stay centered on the puck like that all the time, where you're always getting hit right in the stomach, then you know you're in the perfect position. Oh, you have friends that are Habs and Bruins fans. How you don't? But you must have some friends that are Leafs fans because you live in the GTA. Because last week you say you live in the GTA. Did you ever play hockey? I was just gonna go to overtime. Oh, you still play? What level do you play? Yeah, I did skate. Uh, yeah, I did skate a, a little bit, but I haven't in a while. This is gonna go to overtime. 15 seconds left. There it is. It's going overtime. At least got a point out of it anyway. Yeah, going overtime. Seems like a lot of people play hockey now, like in the basement and all that. Like when I was a kid, we played like ball hockey outside. But now I see it like hockey videos. I see where they play a lot like in their basement or whatever. We never played in the basement when I was a kid. It was always outside, ball hockey, summer and winter. Played ball hockey with a tennis ball. In the winter, the tennis ball got wet and frozen. That thing stung. Yeah, me too. My whole life also. And at least should win this in overtime. Hopefully it's a real highlight, real goal. Yeah, almost. I got the arm tight to the body so it didn't squeak through. Uh-oh. That was weird. Looks like OEL tripped the guy. Oh, Nylander. Yeah, almost. Yeah, Leafs had some good chances, but I think their confidence is not so not so great. Oh, Tavares! That was that was like all Tavares. That goal would have been a beauty. Oh, oh man, the Leafs are getting their chances. Oh man, a giveaway. Oh man, it's a pretty wild game. It's actually been a good game. It's been an entertaining game. Uh oh. Oh. Uh oh. Oh, whoa. He got a piece of that. Uh oh. 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 Oh. Oh man. Here we go. Matthews. Is that going to penalty shot? Penalty shot. Matthews going to end it here. The penalty shot. Matthews going to bury it here. Oh. Oh man. Tried to slide underneath. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. He should have put 5-hole instead of tried to squeak it under the pad. I wasn't gonna. Goalies nowadays they seal that pad right to the ice. Would have been better off if you would have just tried to get a 5-hole. I think he was exhausted still. But I would have liked to see him maybe rip it. Uh-oh. Tavares is playing fantastic in this overtime. Uh, that looked offside. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't think I've seen Riley out there. Maybe he doesn't want to put Riley out there. I'm not a big fan of ending it in a shootout, like going to a shootout. I think that it would be better if go Leafs. Like when I was a kid, when I was younger, before they had like the shootout and all that, like so they would have 2 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, 1 point each for a tie. And they had tie games. And I actually think like more it's more fair because now they have these 3 point games where one team gets 2 points, the other team gets 1 point. Where if it was just a maximum of 2 points, I think it would be easier to catch up for teams that are out of it. Like for teams like with the Leafs now, one of the problems of catching up is these 3 point games. Somehow it doesn't. These 3 point games don't seem make sense to me. Like if it was still like one team gets 2 points, the other gets 0, or they both get 1. I think it's more fair. Yeah, I hit the post. That's what I thought. I hit the post. Oh yeah, what a beauty! Nylander scores a beauty. That goal was fantastic. Oh yeah, that was a William Nylander goal. Roof's backhand. Uh oh. Okay, at least they're gonna win it here. See if he just rips it this time. Oh, yeah, what a beauty. The Leafs win. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I think this team's going to be a good team next year. They're just going to make some adjustments. They're not as bad as everybody. All these people say, "Oh, tear it down." The Leafs are horrible. I don't believe it. I don't know what was going on. If they were, maybe they were kind of mad that also that Nylander, they let not Nylander, let Marner go. I don't know. But Marner wanted to leave. I don't know what was going on. Or they were mad at Berube, whatever. I don't think this team is as bad as what it looks. And I think they'll figure it out over the summer, and they're going to be a good team next year again. They're going to make a few changes. And Matthews and Nylander and a lot of these guys are going to be back, and it's going to be a good team next year. Okay, I guess I'll go now. And thank you again. I appreciate it so much. I enjoy this. I enjoy doing this, but nobody watches. You know, you're the only one. So, but I enjoy. It's like we watched the game together. It's pretty good. Okay, go Leafs.